Recently, I've been thinking about those videos I made about that autistic teenager who beat his teacher as if she stole something from him. And I've been thinking about all the reactions that a story like that tends to garner when it pertains to dealing with teenagers and kids with autism, and how you kind of have to operate with kid gloves given the scenario. And even when you're a teacher who confiscates a Nintendo Switch, I'm going to hold the controversial opinion that what should happen is that you don't end up getting beat by that said autistic kid who then spends some time in jail, because we can all understand that even with autism, you're not supposed to have technology in school during a certain time of day, especially as you're sitting there learning and being asked to remove the thing. But what if we flipped it just a little bit? What if instead of a teenager who's clearly got a height advantage and a strength advantage, even with autism, over a teacher, we instead flip the script where the teacher is stronger than the child with autism? And the reason this is a conversation is because a grown woman decided to beat a preschool 4-year-old child over crayons. A former preschool teacher has been charged with after police in Florida, because of course it is in Florida, say that she forcefully grabbed and dragged a 4-year-old boy with autism to the ground. The incident took place last Tuesday, according to the local CBS 12 and other news outlets. Citing an arrest affidavit, the outlets reported that 48-year-old Alice Wood, terrible name, was taken into custody after she allegedly admitted to her actions, and they were excessive, and claiming that she regretted doing it, but not before she initially blamed the 4-year-old boy for throwing one too many crayons at her. Now, we've all in our lifetime, whether we have children of our own or had to deal with children, whether it be babysitting or just hanging out with your little cousins, dealt with children who are a little bit too wild. And maybe I'm the crazy one here, but the response to dealing with a child, especially in this case if the child is not yours, is to let the parent deal with it and not go any further. Yes, you could probably wag your finger and say no, 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 but grabbing the child and dragging the child, whether it be by the arm, by the shirt, across the floor, across the table, is a little bit too much. Woods was later fired from her position at the Kid City USA, according to the Treasure Coast newspaper, who spoke with the daycare center's owner, Jessica Perkinson. After careful thought, we made the decision to part ways with Miss Alice out of our desire to provide only the best care for our little learners. CBS 12 reported that the boy's behavioral technician at the school had left the classroom to use the bathroom when the alleged assault took place. The technician returned to find the boy laying on the ground and visibly upset. Detectives arrived at the scene to interview the technician and review the security footage, which allegedly showed Wood grabbing the boy's arms and dragging him at least 3 feet before forcing him to the ground. Security footage allegedly showed the boy trying to get up as Wood allegedly held him down by his head using her hand. The outlet reported that the boy's behavioral technician told police that the boy never posed any danger to anyone else. Police interviewed Wood. This is where my brain caught an aneurysm. Police interviewed Wood at her home the next day, and according to CBS 12 and the WPBF, the outlets reported that Wood told a detective the 4-year-old punched her in the stomach and threw crayons at her. She also initially denied dragging the boy and claimed he tripped, so she lied. Wood allegedly later confessed her actions went too far, and she was arrested on one count of lock her up, throw away the key, and we will all slowly watch as you put a camera inside her cell, and we will all clap like seals as this woman withers away into absolute nothingness. Now, you might sit there and say that, Leon, that's a little bit too harsh. How could you say something like that? Well, let's look at the scenario in the grand scheme. You are a teacher, and you're dealing with all these rowdy students, some of them listening, some of them not listening, and then you got one student who's going above and beyond. They have autism, so they're a little bit different in terms of how you're going to deal with them, to the point where they got somebody who's there with you in the classroom helping you out, and then they leave to go to the bathroom, and that kid sees his opportunity, so he gets a little bit rowdy and he punches the teacher, throws a crayon at the teacher. This is a 4-year-old, by the way, and your correct response is to drag them by the arms, pin their head to the ground, make it feel like they're in a scenario where they're getting hurt, probably because they're 4, so their strength isn't all the way up. And they're sitting there just going through the motions, visibly upset, maybe crying about it. And you're sitting there trying to excuse it with a little bit of autism. The police come and ask you questions and you're saying, oh, it's just a basic interaction. And oh, it really wasn't that big of a deal. And oh, it really wasn't that big of a circumstance. And you're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, I got away with this. There's nothing that could make this plan go bad for me. What's that? Camera footage, security camera footage of the classroom or the hallway where this happened. And it's showing a different story from what I told you, the police. Oh, damn. Oops, my bad. That's not really how I wanted that to go. Because of course it's not. Because you hoped that nobody would look at the camera footage to show you abusing a fucking child. And you thought you were gonna get away with that shit. So yes, I am well in my belief in hoping that you wither away into absolute nothingness behind bars, because you don't deserve to be around children. Whether if you're a teacher, a greeter at Walmart, or a fucking janitor, you don't need to be around children. Because if you're willing to do that to a kid with autism, what are you willing to do to a child that doesn't have autism? You are a danger to a bunch of fucking children. It's already bad enough we got these grown adult teachers lusting after kids and coming up with any excuse out of the book to try to justify how they're lusting after kids, from blaming their parents to blaming their husbands not really loving them the way they're supposed to. We don't have to deal with teachers physically abusing these kids in any capacity. And the fact that we got to deal with that anyway is indicative as to why a lot of people, upon various other fucking reasons, don't really trust the school systems anymore. And they're praying to God that homeschool would be the best option. And even in those scenarios, that really wouldn't be the best outcome either. But fuck, in a scenario where you're going up against a 4-year-old, you will never be the rational human being. Why? Because you're the grown adult versus a fucking child. So in any capacity, unless this child is the fucking Antichrist and he just shoots up some machetes and starts hacking and slashing, you are going to be viewed as the dumbass who beat a kid, who abused a kid because you couldn't handle his ultimate move known as the fucking Falcon Punch. May you rest in absolute shit, and may you rot next to Big Frida in jail for a long time. And in the meantime, you watching this video, you should subscribe to this channel, because on a routine basis, I like to see stupid things and stupid things people do or stupid things people say. And I like to say, those people are very much stupid, in a very entertaining fashion. I know you were entertained by this because you watched to the end and you liked the video and you subscribe to the channel, which is the trifecta of what it means to do a good job entertaining somebody for about 7 minutes. And I will see you tomorrow in the next one. Mwah! Goodbye.